Hello, and welcome to the Homewrecker Podcast. I am the Golden Greek, Alex Arion, joined as always by my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous, amazing trophy wife. What was that face for?
I'm excited. It
Oh,
was a happy face. Did
you
it
made
not
kind
look
of like
happy?
like I'm saying gorgeous. You're like, I'm gorgeous. What?
I did not intend to make that face. All right.
That's what I saw from my angle.
That's just
sitting
my
next to
face,
you.
honey.
Goodness. My trophy wife, Monique.
Yay, hi.
Hi. How's it going?
Awesome. How are you?
Fantastic as always.
Fabulous. I don't want to waste any time today because
Then let's not.
we have a very special guest today. I mean, I feel like all of our guests are special, but I have a special connection with our guest. She is somebody who I consider a friend. She is a multidimensional Reiki Master healer teacher. She is just fabulous. She is Adrianna Devine, and she's here with us today. Hello, and thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you guys so much again for having me.
Absolutely. How are you today?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. It was a little hot here today, but I just cracked the window, so.
Yes, we have our air conditioner going.
Yeah, the AC's going. You probably can't hear it, and that's a good thing.
I want to tell our hearers and watchers a little bit about how we met. So we have a mutual friend, Conrad. Oh my God, I can't talk. I sound like Bugs Bunny.
Conrad.
Conrad. Am I turning into Barbara Walters? Oh my goodness. We're not editing this. This is staying in.
All right.
Talk much? We have a mutual friend, Conrad. He has a podcast and he holds meditation, usually like every month, group meditations. And our very first group meditation we were doing with him, you were the one guiding everybody, and you did such a phenomenal job. And I was really impressed. And so I found you on Twitter and followed you. And yeah, I was just really impressed by everything that you do. And we used your Reiki services. We did a cleanse and restore. I've had another Reiki session with you, and it's just been a really good experience. So why don't you tell our hearers and watchers about you and how you got into doing everything that you do?
So, yeah, I think back in like 2014, I had just finished my freshman year at Plymouth State. And I was kind of like, I don't think college is really for me right now. I'm not feeling it. I just wasn't resonating. Like, I was just like, yeah, this doesn't feel right. And so I went with that. I trusted my instinct. I didn't know what was next, but I just kind of went with the flow. But I loved the vibe of Plymouth, New Hampshire. Like, if you've ever been there, it just is such a tight knit, awesome, like crunchy community. And I really like found myself there, like completely just was able to really do some soul searching after high school. And it was great. So I wanted to stay up there. So I ended up renting an apartment in Plymouth, and throughout that year, kind of like on my journey, was like, I think I want to do yoga teacher training. I had been practicing yoga for 3 or 4 years at that point, and it just felt like the next move for me. And I was like envisioning myself teaching at the college while my boyfriend finished up. So during yoga teacher training, it was an 8-month program in Concord, and one of the teachers of the training, it was like you have one teacher that is like your main person, but then there were like other teachers that also contributed different lessons. And one of them was a Reiki Master. And it was, I believe, the first time I'd ever even heard of Reiki put that way. Like I knew that you could have hands-on healing, but I never knew the term Reiki. And for some reason, there was like a very big call, push, pull for me to take this Reiki 1 class. I didn't know why. Again, never heard of it, but something was telling me to take this. And as soon as I took it, I was like, yeah, this is why I took yoga teacher training, to learn about Reiki. So I graduated yoga teacher training, and I taught for a couple years. And at the end of my classes, I would give the students Reiki. And I was like, this is the part that I love. Like, this is what fills my cup. And I loved teaching yoga, but it was more of a job, more of like effort. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, of course, I want to put effort into my work, but it was like a lot of mental thinking and planning, where the Reiki was just so natural. Like, I knew what I was doing. It came to me very naturally. So yeah, I decided to go deeper. I got my level 2 the next year in 2016. And then I was a Reiki Master in 2017. And this past year, I was like, I'm ready to be a teacher. I've been studying and learning Reiki for the last 5 or 6 years. So I took my Reiki Master teacher certification, and I've been teaching ever since. And it's been so nice.
Yay, that's
awesome.
awesome. And actually, you have a course called Metamorphosis. Why don't you tell our hearers and watchers about that?
Yes, so Metamorphosis, it came to me, I channel, and on this past spring solstice, or spring equinox, on March 21st, I had taken a huge break from social media. First time I ever deleted Instagram, and I was still on Twitter, which I'm so grateful for, because I could go down that tangent forever, but I just like, it really helped to like remove Instagram, but to find that like nice community on Twitter that we all are a part of. And so once I was like preparing to go back on Instagram under my business account, I had taken the time away to really figure out, what am I offering? Because I'd been offering Reiki and tarot readings, and it just kind of was not enough. So when I decided to do the Reiki Master teacher, I knew that I didn't want the course, the Reiki course, Reiki 1, 2, or whatever I was going to teach. I knew I didn't want it to be a one-day thing. And that's how I was taught Reiki, was, Sunday, March 21st, come on down from 8 to 5 and learn Reiki 1. It was a one-day thing. And then you were off, and you were expected to have the confidence and the knowledge to go utilize it. But after only a few hours of learning about something, like, you're not an expert by any means. So
Sure.
I did some meditating, and on the 21st, all of a sudden I got hit with like this huge download channel where I grabbed my laptop and was like, Metamorphosis and Reiki 21 days is really sacred to the Usui Reiki lineage, because the man who rediscovered Reiki, he was on top of Mount Kurama in Japan for 21 days. And on the 21st day was when he got the epiphany of Reiki and all these symbols and stuff. So I decided to honor that. And I was like, well, 21 days seems like ample time to learn something. And the content and the lessons and everything just literally came from source, from spirit. Like, I was just the channel, and I just wrote everything down. And even like to the Metamorphosis, okay, the first 7 days are the cocoon, and then it would just, everything, like, it all came, and it's been great. We're on round 2, and the feedback that I'm getting, I just know that everything was right. It was all divine timing, and I've been very much enjoying being there for the students and just answering their questions and everything that comes up. It has been really cool, and like, it's what I'm passionate about. So, when you're talking about things that you love, it just like raises your vibration too. So it's been mutually beneficial for me and my students, I feel.
Oh, I love that. And
That's awesome.
I think one of the reasons why I feel like I connect with you so well is just your energy. And you just have this fabulous, amazing energy. And it just, like, when you're talking about this, it's like as if I feel like my soul is high-fiving yours. Like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. And I plan on taking your course, Metamorphosis, hopefully by the fall. I just submitted my work. I've completed all my hours for my hypnotherapy certification. So I submitted that, and now I'm on to my past life regression certification. So I'm working on that, but I don't want to overwhelm myself with too many things at once. So I'm like, I'm going to do one thing at a time, but that is on my to-do list for this year. So I'm really so happy and excited that you offer this, because the feedback that I've heard from other people has just been phenomenal. Everyone who's taken your course has, spoken out about what a quality course it's been, and how much they've enjoyed it, and how much they've learned, and just the way that you speak about it, and the way that it came to you. It's just, everything happens for a reason. Everything falls into place. And it just seems like one of these, like, yes, this was meant to be. This is your calling, and you're going to help so many people. And you have been helping so many people. And it's really cool, because it's like when you have grandkids, like, you help somebody, but then they help others. You know what I mean? So it spreads, it like the tree of life, just the branches, it goes out. So I think that it's just absolutely wonderful. And you mentioned that you read tarot.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, really quickly, I just wanted to speak about the ripples. I love that so much, because like, that's probably one of the most rewarding parts of this, is like listening to how these people are implementing it in their lives. Like, it literally moves me to tears. Like, I had this one student who lives in the Philippines, and her son had hurt his elbow, and he's young, so he doesn't like know, he wasn't like, Mom, give me Reiki, but he was like, Mom, can you put your hand, like your hand made it feel better. And like, just for a little kid to know that his mom's touch like made chills. So just hearing those stories is like, that is just the frosting on the cake. So
Yes, absolutely.
It's awesome.
So
yeah.
with tarot, I was just going to interject.
Yeah.
You actually had me do a reading for you with my Dragon Oracle, which was really, really fun. And then I didn't know that you also read tarot. And then I found out after, I'm like, that is so cool, because it's really, usually like when somebody reads tarot, they like to have somebody else do it for them. So you're not always like, you practice by reading for yourself, but you usually have, if you want to do a reading, you have someone else do it for you. And for me personally, I never felt that connection. Like, I have lots of friends who read tarot, and some of them are really busy, and I don't want to like bother them. And it was one of those, like, just energy didn't quite match up. And with you, especially during the cleanse and restore session where you were pulling cards, it just was amazing. And it was a really good experience. And I'm like, I found somebody that I can, go to, and who I'm comfortable. Because I think sometimes people, when they think about tarot readings, it can get really personal. And you have to find somebody with that compatible energy where you have comfort, and you definitely offered that. You just have this comfort about you with reading. So why don't you tell everyone a little more about that?
Thank you. I think the first time I ever discovered or had a tarot reading was from my stepmom. So in probably like sixth grade, I was at my dad and stepmom's house, and she pulled out this really old Rider-Waite tarot deck, and it was wrapped in like this beautiful cloth, and just like, she's very spiritual, and that's where a lot of my influence has come from, is my dad and stepmom. And so it was just, I have chills even thinking about it right now. She just unwrapped her deck and was pulling cards for herself, and I asked her like what she was doing, and she talked to me, taught me about the suits, and just a little bit about what it was, and she gave me a reading, and that kind of planted the seed. A few years later, when I was in high school, probably in like 9th or 10th grade, I was at Barnes and Noble, and I got my first ever Oracle deck. This was before I even bought a tarot deck, and I have been doing readings with that deck to this day. That's the deck I used in your guys' session, and I feel a very strong connection with it. I've had it for over 10 years, and the cards are like so heavily used, and that deck and me like work. You know how all decks have different energy?
Yes. Well, I was going to say, it's so interesting, because I don't think a lot of people realize when you work with tarot and oracle cards, some cards, like you have to have a matching energy. And there are a couple decks I got, and it was one of those, like, most decks I've bought is because I just felt a connection. Like, I need to have this deck. I find it, I'm like, wow, I'm paying so much attention to this. I need it. And there was like one deck I got that I was looking at, I'm like, okay, it seems cool. Well, I'll try it out. I had no connection with the deck. I just, energy was lacking. It wasn't for me. So I put it away. But I was like, I need to be more cautious with how I'm choosing my deck, but also just go for it. So if I see something and it's just that feeling inside, when I do that, when I use the deck, it's like spot on. And I think I might have told you, I can't remember, my dragon oracle, when I've done it for myself, when I've brought up a few separate times about my dragon, like my personal dragon, and I always get the same one, always. And it's just, I feel like the deck's like kind of telling me, like, why do you keep asking? Like, you're trying to test us, but we know,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's just this energetic connection with the deck. And that's part of what makes a reading so much better, because like anyone can get a deck.
Mhm.
And one thing I actually want to bring up, because there's a common misconception. Have you heard, like, you can't buy your own deck? It has to be gifted to you.
Yeah, I've seen that on Twitter.
Where the hell does that come from? I'm sure it's like an old wives' tale or something. But I was like, no, I bought my Rider Waite tarot. I bought when I was 19 at Newberry Comics, because again, I just saw it and it stood out to me. And I was like, wow, it's just a feeling, like a pull.
Mm-hmm.
I need this. And yeah, it's just, that's like my main deck. That is like my go-to. And I have other tarot decks, but that is like my one, like my main one, as you have yours.
Yeah.
And I think for anyone like listening, watching, it's nice to know that there is an energetic connection with the cards. It's not just the person doing the reading, but it's their connection with the deck that they're using.
That
Mhm.
seems like it would make more sense to draw, be pulled or drawn to the energy or whatever from the deck, rather than somebody gift it to you. And like, why would that even be a thing? I don't. What's the reasoning behind that? Do you know that?
No, like, I know, what if someone gifted you like a fairy deck and you don't like fairies or something? Like,
Yeah,
I don't
right.
know. That just seems so, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't get that. I've seen that and I just keep scrolling. I'm like, oh my God, these new rules in spirituality. My goodness.
Oh, I know the rules, the spirituality rules. If you want to be spiritual, like legit, these are the rules you need to follow. And if you're into divination, then you need to follow these rules, because that's how it works. There's some good guidelines to go by, like you open a portal, you close it after. But yeah, not.
I thought the whole point of spirituality was how you feel.
Yes, exactly.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that's the thing. Like, you see these rules and you can't do this and you can't do that. It's like,
What do I know?
oh, I guess I've been doing it wrong. Well, then I'll just sit here and mind my own business.
Oh, yeah.
So do you want to talk is there anything else you want to mention? Because you do use it in your Reiki sessions, correct?
Yeah, so yeah, basically I've acquired more decks, and yeah, I use them in my sessions. I gave a lot of readings last year. Like last year I had a lot of clients that would text me like almost every day asking, "Can you pull me a card?" and stuff like that, and they would just Venmo me really quick, like more of a less of a
And like an appointment, more of.
yeah, less of like they're booking on my site and more of
Mhm.
just like a comeback client that's like texting me. And so that was fun and fine. And yeah, so I love doing cards. I love pulling cards for other people. And yeah, the first time I ever gave a reading was to my mom, and we both were left like crying with chills, because it was just, I gave her like, I think it was like a life spread or something with like 12 cards, and it was just so dead on. And it was my first reading ever, and I was just like, whoa, that's a lot. And yeah, that just, ever since then I just have I love doing it. I love working with them and the different energies of the cards. And I was just saying the other day that so my tarot deck is Game of Thrones, but it has a very serious energy. Like it's a no bullshit deck. Like it's like it's very serious. Like I don't know how to explain it other than that. You pull.
I have a deck like that.
No fun involved. And so I am on the hunt right now for another tarot deck, that themed deck that is just a little bit lighter, a little more fun, you know, one that I can laugh with.
My Marigold Tarot deck, it's like black with gold foil. That is a very serious deck. It's one of those like no bullshit, like cold hard truth. Like I recommend it like when somebody needs a slap of reality, and no punches pulled, that's the deck.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, okay.
Yeah.
It's accurate. But sometimes you wish it wasn't. It's like, oh, why are you saying this to me? That's not what I want to hear. But it's one of those decks. It's very, very serious energy. So sometimes people are like, you know, oh, I'm having relationship issues. It's like, well, do you really want this deck? Because it's going to be really brutally honest.
I was just about to say, yeah, that for an example was last year. It was like relationship issues, and I'm pulling like 10 of Swords and like the Devil. I'm like, how do I deliver this message?
Do you really like, okay, do I want this person to come back? I mean, I know when I read, it's weird. Like when I read, I'm usually like, I always look at the bright side, and I'm so like, I used to be super sugarcoating with stuff, but I notice when I read tarot, it's like, I see what the cards are, but I also sometimes like get messages. I see things and get messages that have absolutely nothing to do with the card has to do with. And I get really like, you need to stop doing this. It's just very like matter of fact. And it's like, I try to like, it's not like I'm being mean about it, but it's just like, I need to tell you this. Like, this is serious. I'm trying to help you. You came to me for this. And it's weird. It's usually I'm all like, nah. But when I'm reading, I'm like, interesting. Oh, wow. Like depending on what comes up, it's just like the energy changes a little bit. I think my guides kind of step in, and it's so funny. I'll be like, oh, wait a minute. Like if somebody's talking, I'm like, wait a second. Cause I hear my guides and they're saying things. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm talking to myself. And then I like think after, they probably think I'm nuts.
Oh.
Do you ever get that? Like when you read, like, do you get messages like aside from the cards?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Well, sometimes I'll hear something, but a lot of the times I see, like I'll get images or pictures or feelings. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Feelings. Like I'll see things, I'll feel things, but like I'll hear too. I actually, sometimes when you do a reading and like you tell somebody to be careful about something, and then you find out that what you told them to be careful about happens, it kind of stinks. Like I did a reading for somebody, and I kept like focusing on one of the cards, the guy on the card, the back. And I'm like, you need to, and I was saying, watch your back, watch your back. And I was like, you need to watch your back. And I'm like, do you have somebody like you're friends with who maybe could like a good friend is going to backstab you? Like you need to be careful. And sadly enough, it happened. And it's one of those, like, it wasn't anything necessarily, it had nothing to do with the card. It was the message that I was getting. And it was like just a feeling of like, it was like a combination, like seeing, feeling, hearing. And it's kind of crazy. But yeah, like in terms of like tarot and oracle, have you ever had something where like you didn't want to tell somebody something?
Not with tarot readings. It's happened with Reiki though.
Really?
So yeah, one time I was giving a client, this was probably like 4 years ago. I was giving a client Reiki, and I got the feeling, the vision that, so we were in the session, and all of a sudden I got washed over with a wave that like my mom doesn't love me, but like not my mom, just like that feeling that I got, like no motherly love. And so I like really worked on her heart, and afterwards I like wanted to say something, like I wanted to like give her a hug or be like, I kept getting the message like, you are loved, you are loved. And so I ended up not saying anything, but I'm friends with her sister, and I said something to her sister, and her sister ended up telling me that, yeah, she was the last born and it was unintended, and the whole time the mom like complained about the pregnancy, like there was no, she was like it was an unhappy pregnancy.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I was picking up on, and I think that carried over into the physical, and I think that that's a feeling that she has, maybe subconsciously, consciously, and I don't know because I didn't ask her, but I really just, I tried to give her as much love as I could. And yeah, so that was like a message that I got one time that I didn't feel 100% comfortable saying or how to word it, but looking back, I guess maybe could have said something. I don't know.
Well, I was taught, like, a friend of mine teaches a tarot course, so I did it just because I was like, hey, I like to keep learning. I might find something new. And she brought up something, like she mentioned how sometimes it's better not to say anything in certain circumstances, because it's not going to help. You know, so like saying to somebody in that situation, I think saying to somebody like, oh, your mom doesn't love you.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, I'm sure she feels that anyway. And so just having it said out loud wouldn't do any favors. It wouldn't help them in any way. Just kind of what you did. Just so, like, for me, I would look at that thinking you did the absolute right thing. And with hypnotherapy, actually, that it's so interesting you said that, because with past life regression and hypnotherapy, we can do womb regression. And there are things that happen when you're in the fetus. You feel your mother's energy and what's going on outside, and you can pick up on that, and that can affect you. So, you know, working with somebody who is unwanted, and that feeling, and just it, you know, having that person explain what it felt like being inside and not being wanted. It's like, so we have a thing that we do. We put like a little filter on where their belly button and umbilical cord is, and like to filter everything to, you know, we protect them. But I truly think that when you're pregnant, your feeling carries into that child inside. And whether it's just something in their subconscious or just something in their energy, it's still it's present until it's something that they can work through to release that and let it go.
So I literally just got a vision of, okay, so not an avocado, but like picture an avocado, but like the baby had its own aura inside of the mom with her aura. Like it was like an aura inside of an aura while you were saying that. Like that's what I saw.
Yeah, I mean, it is. When I've done past life regression, we go to usually a few happy childhood memories into the womb, because that's usually the best place to kind of jumpstart into, to kick into a past life. And working with people with womb regression, we talk about like, when did your spirit enter, you know, your mother's womb? When did it? Some people join in around 3 months. Some people are right there at conception. Some don't jump in till 8 or 9 months. There's different things that can happen, but it's like that energy is present though. Even though the spirit might not actually be in, they're still, they either hang around outside or they come and go, but they pick up on that and it's present. And they have their own aura, their own energy.
So cool.
Isn't it?
This stuff just fascinates me. I just sit here like, what?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So cool.
I know. I love having somebody to talk about this with. It's really cool, because most people, when you talk about spirituality, when you talk about divination, when you talk about Reiki and tarot, and just, you know, in general, spirituality, most people, I feel like, don't get it. And when they do, or they're at least open to it, it's like, awesome. But then to like, that's why I think I love our group, our, you know, Twitter group, because we're just more open and we know, I don't want to say know more about it, but like we're just more into it, more tuned in. And it's just nice to kind of have those connections with people who they get it. You know, we're having this conversation that I think a quote unquote normal person off the street might listen to be like, what the fuck are they talking about? And here we are like, it's so beautiful.
Yeah,
But it's
totally.
awesome.
I'm so grateful.
I am too.
I like the community, like everyone like pushes me to keep thinking bigger. Like once I don't want to think, I never think I know nothing. Like I never claim to know everything, but it's like every day in my mind, I'm just like, holy shit, I didn't even know it could expand this big. Like, you know, just every day I just, whew, it's really cool. I love, it's always pushing me to think bigger, be better. I love it. It's really very positive. And I don't know if it's who I follow or what, but I find it to be a more positive and a more inclusive, more connected than other social media. I feel like everyone there, it's conversation. Like there's actually conversation happening versus just someone posting and people liking it. Like it's inspiring convo, and I love that. I love it.
I know it's great. With what you said about always wanting to push yourself and learn, my meme had said like, every day you learn something. Like you should always be learning. And the day you stop learning is the day you die. And like I took that as a little kid, like, yeah, because kids are curious, you know, and we want to learn. And I've always tried to like, I can always do better. I can always learn more. Like I remember when I was younger, I was like, I wish college was free because I just want to learn stuff. I just want to go to class and just learn all these different things. I just want to know about everything and how everything works. And I think my life, like I've tried to do that. Like, I want to learn about this. I don't necessarily want to master it. I just want to learn about it. So, you know, exploring these avenues. And then it kind of brought me to where I've been, you know, and it's brought me to learning about hypnotherapy, which is where I think I found my click, where it's like, I'm learning and I love it and I want to do it. And like you said with Reiki, it's not work. Like, yes, like there's work involved, but it doesn't feel like, oh my God. The only thing I will say with hypnotherapy is it's kind of draining on your energy. Do you get that with Reiki sessions? Do you feel drained at all?
So that's like one of the big things that I try to teach throughout the course is, so when I first started giving Reiki, I felt drained. And then when I learned more about Reiki, I realized that I was not giving Reiki. I was giving like actually my energy. Like it's still energy healing, but I was like sitting there and I was like, giving you all of my loving kind. Like I was like really trying to force it through, if that makes any sense at all. It was more of a force. Like I literally, like I could feel like my eyebrows coming together because I was like really trying to be like, okay, loving kindness, loving energy. And then that would drain me because I'm giving them all my energy. So what I've learned is that with Reiki, at least, it's more that you're the channel. So there's like the energy in the world and the Mother Gaia, and then you can tap into that and you're like the straw that's sucking it up and giving it to whoever you're giving it to. So you're actually getting the Reiki while you're giving the Reiki. So if you're practicing giving Reiki, if you can like just let go and just allow it to flow more naturally, you don't feel drained. You actually can feel like really energized and good after, because it's also clearing and cleansing you.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see how with different therapies and stuff, how it can probably be draining, which is, it will be good to have Reiki in your toolkit for like the womb healing and stuff, and to replenish yourself before and after, and to help clear. Yeah, I think it'll just fit in so naturally. I feel like it's be just like such a good little companion.
Well, that's the thing. I'm like, and this is why I was like, this is why I need to do that. It's just kind of came up in conversation, and it's like, I'm going to be doing it, but it's just like, yes, Monique, like the universe is saying, yes, you're on the right path. Keep going. Cause here's another thing. Yeah. Like one of the things you and I had a conversation about was like the womb healing, and something I had done during a session that I told you about. And I didn't think about it the way that you reiterated it after. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess, yeah, because we were using touch and everything. And I do like, I try to like feel the energy of people. So I know like where to go and like when to like, okay, don't push here. But I always think like I can always learn better ways to protect my energy and help others. And I was like, this would be such a good resource for me to help others during hypnotherapy. And again, everything happens in the time it happens for a reason. And like me finding you and connecting with you and then seeing what you offer, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is just so perfect. So wonderful.
I love it.
No, it's awesome. So, like, what else? Because if I feel like you do a lot, like you offer a lot. Is there anything else like that you do? Like, I know you've done a podcast.
Yeah, I do a little podcasting. I had big ambitions for it, and then I got this big surgery, and I talked a little bit about it in one of my more recent episodes, but yeah, so I do plan on doing more with it. I have a few people that I want to interview and stuff, so yeah, it's the Love Matrix, and I just kind of chit chat about fun, different, inspiring topics, positive conspiracies.
Yay. And I love the name, the Love Matrix. Like when
Yeah.
you told me that, I was like, oh, I love this.
Thank you. Yeah, so I have the podcast, and I offer the metaphysical movement, the tapping. Yeah, that.
So let's talk about that a little bit because that's amazing. It's kind of like life changer. Why don't you tell people about that?
So yeah, it is. I used to offer it like monthly, which I'm considering doing again because like the energy of teaching it as a group on Zoom was really fun. But right now it's just a recording, and yeah, basically it is a metaphysical movement. It's a combination of tapping and dry bathing techniques to work with your fascia and meridians because, you know, emotions get stored in the body. I know you guys know this, but for your hearers and watchers, emotions, trauma, that all gets stored in your body, whether you know it or not. So if you have like a chronic shoulder pain for no reason, it could be a emotion, trauma, block, etc. And so getting your body moving can help get these put. So like the word emotion is energy in motion. So if you can give motion, physical motion to the energy, it can move the emotion out of the body. So it basically it's tapping, which can help reset your algorithm because it's all these points, and it's I can't think of the specific term, but it's these certain points that if you tap on them, they will bring your meridian lines back to where they're supposed to be. All of these lines that run through our body.
Yeah, because we did the tapping like on the side of the hand. And then, whoops, as I tap my microphone, like we did like the eyebrows, like around the eyes, down here, here. And then like we put our hand, and then like up here. Yeah, it was really cool doing that because I definitely, that and the metaphysical movement, which you can talk a little bit more about, like I felt a difference, a huge difference. And we talked about it a couple weeks ago. I had mentioned you and the metaphysical movement. I can't remember if I told you this, but so after we talked, I went through the whole thing in the morning while the kids were still sleeping. And I did the tapping and I did metaphysical movement. And like I've had shoulder pain for years, for over 4 years. And it's gotten to the point where sometimes I can't even lift my arm.
Wow.
And it's made it hard because like I used to work out and got to the point like I couldn't do it, and just like doing nothing, sometimes I just get shooting pain. And so I had no pain doing the metaphysical movement. And so I was just like, it doesn't hurt, that right there was amazing. And then when I finished, I get up and I go to, close out the video, and I look at the time and it's 6:33 a.m. And I'm always getting 33s. And I'm just like, and like I was like saying in the episode, like it's always the minute is 33. Like it points out, like usually like when I'm doing something that matters. And I was just like, yeah, this is huge. This is important. So why don't you talk a little bit more about the metaphysical movement?
Yeah, so basically you can do dry bathing, which you can take your hands, because we all have, like, everyone, by the way, everyone can use Reiki. It's just when you get your attunements to level 1, 2, and 3, it's like you are increasing your Reiki ability. So everyone can use Reiki. That's why when you scrape your knee when you're a kid, it's like our first reaction to grab our knee. That's like your first time ever using Reiki on yourself. It's just when you can learn more about it and get the attunements, it's easier. You're a bigger straw, you're a bigger channel for it. So that being said, you basically can, like, with the chakras in your hands, you can use that to swipe energy off your body. And so in the video, I guide you through, I call it not your average yoga class, because it kind of is like yoga. Like, we go in a child's pose at one point and we're like moving our arms and stuff, but it's really more of you are using your hands to reset your energy fields. And like Monique said, like it's so powerful. Like I'll never forget the first time that I took the classes and I did it, and the profound changes immediately. And the cool thing about it, in my opinion, is that once you kind of do the video a couple times, when you're out and about, like if you go grocery shopping and like you kind of run into someone rude, when you get to your car, you can sit in your car for a couple seconds and just, if one or two things in the video stuck out to you that you really liked, you can take a minute to just implement it. And yeah, I think that's one of the cool parts about it, is that for this certain one, it's like a one-time investment for the video, but then you can keep watching it, get to know the sequence. If you want to implement the tapping, you can do your own affirmations to the tapping. Yeah, I think it's really, it's kind of mind blowing to me how much energy we can move just by like using your hands and swiping and fluffing the air around you. And
I have to say, one of my favorite parts is fluffing our aura. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I love doing, even just like during my day, I'll just be like, love, like it's just
like I've done that, and like, using your hands. But for me, like, definitely, like, I noticed with my kids, like the stress of like getting stressed about stuff, it's kind of helped with that as well. And kind of like, I need to take a me moment. Let me work on my energy. Let's, get it off. And yeah, it's just, I feel like I've noticed like immediately like a mental change and even a physical change. And so it was like we did a Reiki session. And you're like, you could benefit from tapping. I'm like, I've heard about it, but I don't know how to do it. And yes, it's absolutely amazing. So anyone watching, hearing, like, check it out. It's absolutely amazing. Can't praise it enough.
Thank you. Yeah, and there's a very nice meditation at the end, so you can just kind of lay there and absorb it. It's called a yoga nidra, so it's like a yoga sleeping technique. So it walks you through relaxing your body. And so if you ever can't sleep at night, a really good tip, I've done this since I was a little kid, like since I can remember, if you walk through your body from head to toe and just either focus on relaxing each area, or you can say like, good night forehead, good night eyebrows, and just like work your way down. I never make it to my feet. I am always out.
I love that.
I make it there. So yeah.
That's
I
great.
love that. Oh, that's amazing.
That's good stuff.
Before we wrap up today, is there anything you want to plug? Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I have a question before we wrap
Yeah.
up,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go on.
if that's okay.
Yes.
You were mentioning before about your podcast, and you said that you talk about positive conspiracies. What is a positive conspiracy, if you don't mind?
Right. Well, I just mean like I'm open to talking about conspiracies, but I don't want to be like a drag or like, I don't know, conspiracies can be so negative, and
Yeah.
it's not that I don't appreciate the place that they play in the grand scheme of things, and I like entertaining them, and I like, talking about them, but I want to keep the conversation about them like light and more fun versus like talking about something that kind of like lowers the energy, because it's not like the love matrix. That's not something I want to like. I guess what I meant is that like I just want to keep like, I don't know, keep the vibes high, because I don't want to contribute to their matrix, the negative lower realm and stuff. So
that makes absolute sense. Yeah, because like as you're saying it, it's like I'm feeling and seeing in my mind like just the physical, like the energy level, like when sometimes some conversations really like they drag you down and you start kind of getting pulled in, and it's like, oh, and it makes you feel not good.
That's kind of why we stopped really talking about them so much on our show, because they do tend to be just they very rarely end in a good place.
Yeah. Well,
if they end at all, I mean, it's a conspiracy, so it's obviously something that's a rabbit hole of sorts that you
and even
like
go into. Missing 411 that like we've done shows on, we're really fascinated by it, more so we can figure out how to like stop these people from going missing. Like, what is this missing puzzle piece? But like when we've read stories, I try to avoid anything with kids that doesn't have like a good thing, because it's just that energy. Like if it's making me feel upset reading it, I don't want to talk about it and pass that on to others.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of the vibe I'm getting, is you don't want to do that to other people. Like get to a point where it starts bringing the vibration down and just kind of not having that high vibe positivity. So I love that.
My voice changes when I get going on the conspiracies. Like I start to really get loud, and it's
I'm
not
the same way.
Yeah. I get like really intense, like a little Alex Jonesy. So
it's so funny. Like Alex is like that. Alex gets fired up, but me, like I get excited. Like I get loud anyway, but when I get excited, my voice gets higher.
I love it.
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited. This is so cool. Yeah, it's something.
Yeah.
I am who I am.
Yeah.
The other thing is I used to love this podcast, Crime Junkies. But I will say that's another reason why I don't want to like talk about a bunch of that kind of stuff on my podcast, is because I will say that's something I teach in Metamorphosis too. What you take in, right? Eating, TV, podcast is what I feel you are going to kind of manifest into your reality. So when I'm watching a ton, or when I'm listening to a ton of true crime, all of a sudden shit started happening in my personal life, and I'm like, I'm manifesting a true crime right into my family's life. Like,
because the universe is like, oh, this is what you want.
Yeah. So I this year especially, because like I still love talking about them, but for the past few years it's been like I wanted to talk about conspiracies all the time, but in that social media hiatus and finding this like Twitter community, I've realized how much time I was just like wasting. I don't know, like it's all a distraction from you and yourself. And I finally got the time to spend with myself to do the Reiki course and everything. And so they're fun. But you got to be mindful when you're consuming them, because if you're not, it can really, take over your life, I feel. So
yeah,
That's
agree.
Good advice.
It's excellent advice. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Did you have any other questions?
No.
Okay.
So where can everybody find you on social media?
So I am on Instagram at divine.healing. And on Twitter, my personal is at Barry_Venusian. And my business, I believe, is at Healing Divine. It's in my bio though on Twitter, so you can just click there.
And you have a link tree too.
Yeah, and my link tree. Yeah, let me give that. It is linktr.ee/divine.healing. And that's really just divine.healing is where you can find me. My website is healingdivine.com.
Yay!
And it's
Perfect.
Divine, my last name. So Devine.
Perfect. We'll put all that stuff in the show notes
Yes.
too.
And
so
I
they
want
can find you.
everyone listening and watching, like, check out our stuff. You know, like, she's my go-to person for my Reiki services. Just even like with some hypnotherapy, I had a not so good session. I talked about it on an episode, and I was like, I need to balance my energy again. Like, you know, yes, I allowed it to get kind of knocked off a little bit, but I was like, nope, I'm recognizing it, and now I need to balance it. And after our session, it was like, okay, I'm way better. Like, you feel the shift, you feel the change. And anyone who's listening or watching and just thinks like Reiki is, because I remember like decades ago, people talking about Reiki and like, oh, that's hooey, you know, hogwash. But it really, I think it really, really works. And but you have to be open to it. Like, nothing's gonna work if you're not open to it. If you go in with a closed mind, of course it's not gonna work. You already told yourself it's not gonna work. You have to have an open mind. Allow yourself to give it a chance, and or don't bother doing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion on that.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, well, real quick, when we had our session and you did the Reiki for me, I think I told you afterwards, like I didn't mention it beforehand, but my lower back was killing me and I've been in pain for weeks. And whatever you did, like I think it was something in my liver or something that you were drawn to. And when you focused everything on that, and then like my back just stopped hurting, I'm like, what the heck is going? Like it was crazy, but I didn't have pain for almost a week and a half, and then it started slowly kind of creeping back, but it's still not even close to as bad as it was when it was really, really giving me trouble. So
he literally comes downstairs after like, my back pain is gone.
yeah. So I was like, I don't know what she did, but she did something. Something happened because I was just sitting there. I wasn't moving. I wasn't doing anything. I was just listening.
Alex is an open-minded skeptic. Like,
yeah. Oh,
he's
for sure.
very skeptical, but he goes in with an open mind. But
Yes.
you know, he's not going to give away information. You know, like, I need to know like you're legit, but I'm open to it. And yeah, it's so funny because he's just like, my back pain is gone. It doesn't hurt anymore. And I'm like,
awesome.
that's great.
Great. Yeah. So I mean, that there's a testimonial for you.
Yes.
It works.
It does. And again, I think what you do is life-changing. Absolutely. Like, it's helpful, and it has the ability to change people's lives if they go in with the right mindset. With Reiki, with tapping, metaphysical movement, your metamorphosis program, you're doing such amazing things. So everyone, check her out. And she's just a lovely human being, aside from everything else. So I sing her praises.
Yes. So thank you very much for joining us. And actually, if you want to hang out for a few minutes, where can people find us on social media? We have Twitter.
Yes, at Homewrecker. Oh my God, I was going to do the website. I blew the spot. Let's do that again.
Okay, one more time. People can find us on social media. We have a Twitter.
At Homewrecker Pod.
And what is our website?
Homewreckerpodcast.com. I'm just too excited.
There it is. And then where can people find you real quick?
You can find me on my website, tarotbymonique.com. I have an Etsy shop, Wonders by Monique, and I'm on Twitter at underscore Monique Giselle _. I almost drew myself up there for a second again. How can people find you, my love?
I'm on Twitter at the Alexarion. Check out alexarionfitness.com. And yeah, that's it.
Fabulous.
All right. So until next time, everybody. I am the Golden Greek, Alex Arion, joined as always by my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous, amazing trophy wife, the lovely Monique.
And Adrianna Devine, the Metaphysical wonder, who can do so much with Reiki, tarot, just an energy worker, a wonderful multidimensional Reiki teacher, energy worker. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And you've been listening to the Homewrecker Podcast.